two YouTube channels, Girl Defined and Classically Abby, have garnered a lot of online hate and ridicule in the past few years. While some people have genuine critiques of their videos, others resort to hate speech. For example, Abigail Shapiro of Classically Abby has been the subject of anti-Semitic and misogynistic comments on 4chan for a long time. While I do not agree with this hate by any stretch of the imagination, I wanted to dissect and analyze the cultural ideas these two channels are spreading. In this video, I will be analyzing Girl Defined and Classically Abby using gender performance theory and linguistic anthropological methods. First coined by Judith Butler, gender is, quote, an identity tenuously constituted in time, an identity instituted through a stylized repetition. In other words, gender is culturally constructed and is constructed through repeated acts. For example, until World War II, it was culturally unacceptable for women to wear pants until they started working jobs men would do often. Through repeatedly wearing pants, women were able to shift the cultural norm of who wears pants. Penelope Eckert, a researcher, also discusses the heterosexual market. In a patriarchal society, men hold the power, and an easy way for women to hold power is through their relationships with men and appealing to men in order to get a relationship with them. For my research, I wanted to explore how gender and power dynamics are asserted through digital platforms. I used participant observation, reading Girl Define's website, Abigail Shapiro's page on knowyourmeme.com, and watched their videos. I also used previous research studies regarding gender performance theory to make comparison to the videos. For recruitment, I selected Girl Defined and Classically Abby because they are both well-known conservative internet influencers. In addition, because of the mock and the ridicule they had received, I wanted to make an unbiased analysis of their video, though I do not agree with most of their ideas. I watched 6 Things Every Christian Girl Needs to Know Before Getting Married by Girl Defined, and then Why You Should Dress Modestly, Get the Attention You Deserve by Classically Abby. I chose these 2 videos because they were the most viewed videos on each channel, so the messages they were trying to convey had the largest audience. I took field notes with my notebook and pencil and coded them for themes, family, and identity. According to the Girl Define's website, Kristen Clark and Bethany Bale, the 2 sisters who run the website and make the videos, come from a large family in Texas. This is worth noting because it demonstrates that their cultural norm is having a large family, so they would relay this to their audience. For example, in her video, Kristen states that she has been married for 6 years, and before that, she would read up on how to be a good Christian wife.
Hilarious thing is that I thought I knew so much back then. Like, I remember the wedding day approaching thinking like, man, this wife thing, like, I've got it down. I've read all the books, all the Christian resources, like, I'm gonna nail it.
This demonstrates that, for Kristen, a family starts with a heterosexual coupling, which demonstrates the idea of heteronormativity that Judith Butler describes, in which a pairing of a man and woman is considered normal, and gender serves to maintain that normal. Likewise, Kristen made herself more appealing as a spouse by reading up on how to be a good wife, which demonstrates how women will perform their gender to appeal to men and gain power. Abigail Shapiro is also a married woman. In her video, Abigail states that women shouldn't want one-night stands.
If you are wearing something incredibly revealing, it will be difficult for him to focus on your personality. Instead, he might be focusing on your physical appeal. Of course, there are men who will look at you this way no matter what, but more men will think of you as a sex object if you dress like one than if you dress like a lady. Does that mean you should look like garbage when you meet someone? Absolutely not. You should look attractive. But if you're dressing immodestly, you're not leaving anything to his imagination, and you're not giving him an opportunity to get to know you. I'm guessing you don't want to attract the kind of man who is only looking to spend one night with you. But when you dress immodestly, men are wired to have one thing on the brain.
Once again, this perpetuates the idea of the heterosexual market, as one-night stands would not allow women the access to power that marriage would. Think about all the times a woman has threatened someone in your life with their husband or their husband's influence. Watch out for the guy I hooked up with once, just doesn't have the same punch. Also, Abigail states in the video that women should want to be known for their accomplishments as wives and mothers.
Modesty reminds us what's important. Of course, it's amazing to keep in shape. It's amazing to work out and stay fit. But I hope that when I'm 50, people are talking about my accomplishments as a mother, as a wife, and as a woman with values, not my muscle tone.
Here, Abigail is demonstrating that women will only be known for their relationships with men, and the alternative, being known for one's body, is not ideal. The way for a woman to be respectable is to be devoted to her husband. The Girl Defined website states that Kristen and Bethany were once models and had to choose between their careers and faith. This demonstrates that a woman presenting her body is not quote-unquote holy or godlike, which just means morally upright and Christian. Also, in her video, Kristen states that women are told to be independent and demand their rights, but she thinks women should be selfless and bold.
And number 4, being totally independent doesn't create marital unity. So just like you, I'm growing up in this culture where we're being told as women that we need to be totally independent. It's our way or the highway. We need to make a name for ourselves. We don't need anybody. We can do it all on our own. That's really the mindset of our culture that we as women are encouraged to embrace. But sadly, when you get into marriage, that kind of super extreme independent mindset doesn't really work. It doesn't create marital unity. Instead, you come into marriage, and I did this, you come into marriage with more of like a competition mindset, like you start to view your husband when you disagree as almost a competitor, and rather than working together as a team and striving for unity, striving to be selfless and serve the other, you instead demand your way and demand your rights. And so for me, if I could just encourage you, if there's something I wish I had worked on more before marriage, it would be to have cultivated more of a selfless, others-focused heart instead of such an independent, self-focused mindset. So I encourage you, instead of embracing what the culture says a strong woman is, instead embrace what God says a strong woman is, which is a bold and courageous woman for His truth, but also a woman who is selfless, sacrificial, and shows genuine Christ-like love.
For Kristen, being a loud and independent woman is not the ideal, which echoes patriarchal values. Women should not demand more. They will not be happy. They should keep quiet and indirect in their language if they want to be fulfilled. Abigail specifically makes makeup, fashion, and lifestyle videos, so she discusses presentation quite a bit. Her whole video was about presenting modestly as a woman, which doesn't sexualize the body.
Modesty is dressing in a way that doesn't sexualize your body. I get the appeal of not wanting to dress modestly all the time. Even for those of us who do dress modestly, sometimes it's hard. It's fun to dress in a way that makes you desirable. It's fun to be noticed. But the question is, who do you want to be desirable to? And do you want to be noticed for being beautiful or being sexy?
This assertion applies that women have the power to sexualize themselves, which harkens back to the idea of the heterosexual market. However, for Abigail, a woman sexualizing herself will not get her the most powerful and ideal man. Dressing modestly will. She also claims that dressing modestly is how women will be seen as people.
But more men will think of you as a sex object if you dress like one than if you dress like a lady.
In performing womanhood this way, Abigail argues that women will gain more power through modest dress. I analyzed Girl Defined and Classically Abby using gender performance theory. While I do not agree with the videos personally, I can now view these videos as products of larger cultural values rather than just being sexist. I do not agree with the hate that they have received, but the amount of backlash definitely demonstrates a cultural shift in gender. One thing worth noting is that some people agree with some of Kristen's arguments in her video, as Kristen often discussed how men and women should have an equal relationship, though not an equitable one. So, while Girl Defined does appeal to conservative culture, it is not exempt from being influenced by the changing society. Likewise, Classically Abby seems to want to promote female agency, but Abigail does not reflect upon larger systems of power and views women as completely in control of their own gender performance, which is just not true. Overall, though, these channels and the internet's response to them serve as great cultural artifacts. Thank you.